And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We have Crusty Old Guy once again. Just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. If you are going to a game this season, be it NHL, AHL, ECHL with our friends down in Indy, or if you're going to a college game or really any hockey game, wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. I'd like to shout out everybody that was in my row during the New York Rangers game on Sunday. Excellent. Nobody moved. It was great. Obviously, they are listeners.
Okay. Boy, maybe it's just my section that I have trouble.
You had trouble on Sunday?
No, not too much. No, everybody was pretty good Sunday.
Like, yeah.
No, we had a bunch of people walking up. We could have shot them. I had my woman with me, and my woman is now completely entertained with yelling at people as they come up during play. Except, yeah, when somebody gives her the stink eye, then I have to back it up and, get up and be all tough.
Well, did you have our friends behind us? Because I typically feel safe if they're behind us.
Did not have the big guy behind us. Mitch, as we found out last night, his name is Mitch.
Yeah, big fan of Mitch. Always feel safe.
Yes.
I can start chirping if he's behind me.
I hear you, yes, because he'll chirp back and he'll back it up, so he can handle our tough guy work.
True that. All right, guys, let's get into it. We saw a lot of hockey this week, or at least I saw a lot of hockey. Crusty Old Guy did not want to go out into the freezing cold after the Winter Classic.
Whoa, hold on. I still saw hockey.
You did see hockey.
So there. And I saw a Blackhawk win. Those are rare.
Those are so rare.
So don't be saying I'm not doing my game. I just decided not to be out in the cold. You saw more out in the cold.
It was awesome, guys. I was fortunate enough. I went to the Frozen Confines on Friday. It was Michigan versus Ohio State for the first game, and then Notre Dame versus Penn State. And it was so cold the entire time, but it was so much fun. It was just a really fun environment. It wasn't nearly as packed as the Winter Classic was. It was essentially all the same setup, but we're lucky we had some pretty good seats. We're like second row of the 300 level at Wrigley, which for the amount of times that I've gone to Wrigley, which isn't a ton, but it's enough in my lifetime, I still have no concept of the layout of the ballpark when I'm buying tickets. So I was just hoping that they were somewhat good. And they were. And it was super fun, super cold. First game, like I said, was Michigan versus Ohio State. Michigan definitely had control the first half, and then Ohio kind of turned it on. And their goaltender, Christopher Eberle, I think his name is. I know his last name is Eberle. I'm unsure of his first name. Played lights out, especially during the third period, which mad props to him because I know he is not old by any means, but an older kid. He's not like 18 in the net, and he is undrafted. But shout out to him. He played a phenomenal game during Confines. Second game, Notre Dame versus Penn State. It was really fun because for those who have watched or heard us refer to our Washington Capitals insider, with our Washington Capitals insider, and Notre Dame has a Washington Capitals prospect that was in net for Confines, so we were able to see him quite a bit. His name is Nicholas Kempf. I thought he played great. But they were very fun games. Very cold, but very fun. And then not even 24 hours later, I was at a different rink. I had my first ECHL game, which, guys, was so much fun. Went out to see Kalamazoo Wings play the Bloomington Bison, this is the Bloomington's first year in the ECHL. Neither team has the best record at the moment, but it was still fun. It was their Rainbow Ice game, which is one of their more popular games. Their Rainbow Ice game and their Star Wars night are probably their top two. but they do have a lot of other themed nights. Most ECHL teams, as well as AHL teams, have a lot of themed nights, which is also why I highly encourage folks to go see other leagues of hockey as well, because these smaller teams have a little bit more leeway and have the ability to have a bit more fun with themed nights compared to the NHL that is very strict on those things.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I think they've got to do a couple extra things to bring everybody in. And you showed me like the Star Wars night stuff, and that stuff looked pretty kick-ass with the, biggest lightsaber battle.
They're in the Guinness Book of World Records, guys. It's awesome.
So, anything else you want to talk about the Kalamazoo game, or?
Yeah, just a little bit. Especially with it being a rainbow ice game, I thought was very cool. For those who don't know the backstory, I refer to it as like their Pride Night, but more. It is celebrating all demographics, not necessarily just it being a Pride Night, but just to celebrate everyone's differences, and to just be extremely inclusive night for everybody to go to the game, which I thought was absolutely lovely, because being an NHL fan and a Blackhawk fan, you really don't get that a ton. As someone who falls into multiple categories that are not the conventional hockey fan, sometimes you are made to feel small, or made to feel like your presence is kind of a giant inconvenience to the sport. And so it was really nice to go to a hockey game where that wasn't the case. And in fact, it was the opposite. Differences were celebrated. So shout out to Tony Will and the Kalamazoo Wings team. It was an awesome night.
Yeah, very good, very good. And I mean, from what you told me, it's an inclusion thing. That sprinkles the infield on everything. So,
yeah, but very, very fun night. And like I said, I really like the lower tier, like the tiers under the NHL that get to have the more fun nights that you don't get to have at the NHL, because I'm all about being creative and seeing like how they do their nights, the jerseys, the fan stuff before. Also, that's a huge thing that I'm a fan of with like the specialty nights that they have at the AHL and the ECHL, is the amount of fan participation and fan appreciation that you get with those nights, because Blackhawks, you really haven't seen it as of recently in terms of the team showing fan appreciation.
Well, there used to be a time when you had a fan appreciation game at the end of the year, and then they would give away stuff and this and that, and well,
we don't have that anymore. But that went away a very long, like pre-dynasty.
That went away completely. Like the jersey off the back, that used to be one of the neatest things at the end of the season.
And some teams still do it.
Last game, that kind of went away after, I believe it was the 2011 or maybe 2012 season, where they lost their finale at home and they were unsure if they were going to make the playoffs. And I think the players just wanted to get off the ice. So I do get that part of it too, but they used to do a lot of other really nice stuff and some other cool giveaways, and
yeah,
it is what it is right now as far as their care for the fan. So, but hey, that's just for season ticket holders, a little bit more pressure. But if you come during the year, they're going to let you have 2 extra beers and some popcorn for free. So, hey, whatever. Sometimes that works too.
Yeah. So, but it was fun. It was very, very fun. Very fun weekend. A lot of hockey this week, guys. All right. Getting into, before we get into the NHL world, we also have more non-NHL stuff. And that's the U.S. won the World Juniors, guys. They ran it back to back. Captain Ryan Leonard ran it back to back. I mean, he wasn't captain for last year's team, but he was a part of leadership. And USA is number one once again. And even more important, Canada lost.
Yes, there's a lot of Canada angst, a lot of U.S. pride. Hey, they're the team to beat. Back to back is something they've never done. Of course, they had a championship game against Finland, and Finland and the Swedes never go away easily.
Well, that was the thing. So I wasn't able to watch all of the game because I am poor, and I'm too terrified to torrent hockey games on my computer and crash it. But from what I've seen, I mean, the Finnish goaltender put up a somewhat decent fight during the finals.
Oh yeah, he did. I mean, I wish I could report more. I didn't see that much because of everything. My woman kind of got together and ordered a couple other things that we were planning to cancel right away just so I could see the championship game. But no, the Finns and the Swedes, their goaltending is always pretty darn good, and their system, and they stay within their system. It was a cocky game. They got up 3-1. You know, the big thing for this year, I think last year was the slicking of the hair back for the selfie. This championship game, it was all about Superman. Everybody with the opening of the shirt to show the big S. The Finns did it first, then the USA did it later. Hey, it went to overtime. I didn't know. I was wondering how that played out. They play a 3-on-3. They'll go 20 minutes if need be.
Jesus.
I know. And I believe, and I'm like, well, this should be over with soon. And
no, they played decently into overtime.
Yeah, I think it ended at about the 10-minute mark. So there was plenty of good chances back and forth. The Finns got a little tired. A beautiful pass to Stigma or Stamagma.
Teddy Stiga.
Huh? Oh, my woman is trying to figure it. Stiga.
Teddy Stiga, he's a Nashville Predators prospect.
Yes, Teddy Stiga. Right past the Finnish guy's stick and perfectly there, and then, he got him to open up his legs, 5-hole, and it was over. But yeah, I think Team Canada is going to be thinking of a lot of things. I'm hearing a lot of crazy stuff. They need to put more hockey people in charge. But then again, the last time they put all these crazy hockey people in charge, these kids are running around doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. So, that was the other funny thing from Canada. Well, if we just let our kids, run rampant, they'd be better. I don't see how those two correlate, but
no.
Yeah, a lot of talk about them going young and not bringing maybe the best players. Either way, Oliver Moore looked good. Nothing great. I mean, you watch Ryan Leonard. That's an extremely good hockey player. Moore will be a piece. And there is a difference.
Yeah.
So, probably the biggest thing out of that is their coach.
I know. That's been the Twitter buzz today of everybody wanting Kyle to get on the phone.
Exactly, and to hire him or he's going to get a job. I have no desire to hire this man. If I could get him to go to Rockford, ideally, if I could somehow sell him in 3 years in Rockford, and then I'll bring him up, I'm all for it. He needs some seasoning at the pro level, if you ask me. The college game and the pro game are different. I think once he gets a couple of years down in the AHL, he'll be okay. Again, with this kind of buzz, I would assume somebody takes a chance on it. I don't like it that it's just college and he's making that jump. Has it been done before? Nobody's really done it real well in the first go round. You know, there was talk about, well, Montgomery kind of did from the pro level, but he had some demons that he had to get through. And as everybody can tell now, has come across the other side, you know, very, very well. So I don't like it from that aspect of he hasn't coached in the pro game yet. But if I could get him to Rockford, I would nab him in a heartbeat. So I'd nab him tomorrow, but I would assume maybe somebody offers him a pro job.
I mean, I don't think it's that ridiculous in terms of like thinking that somebody is going to take a chance on him. Either a rebuild that's similar in our position or maybe a team that is either still somewhat competitive and there's some issues, or maybe on a very soon downward trajectory that's trying to combat that. Where it's, no, guys, it's okay. We're not in a tailspin right now because we got this new coach and it's going to be exciting and new. Like, I can see some team trying to spin that fluff.
Yeah, I think so. Again, I'm just not sure. As I said, ideally, I'd like to have him. I'd nab him for Rockford right away. I wouldn't put him up with the big club. Just too many things. You know, he's not used to coaching an 82-game schedule either. They play like 30 games in college. It's a whole different animal. You know, you've got grown men going out doing whatever. Well, I guess even the college level, you got kids doing whatever. So, but yeah, he's the next big thing. So I'm interested to see what happens with him.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he stays at the college ranks after this year. You know, unless he's just going to make a decision that that's where he plans to be forever.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. You're not in a bad city. You've got a decent, you are at a school that, you know, has won back-to-back championships. And so, you know, you're at a school that has the potential to be very competitive. It's not a horrible spot to be.
No, everybody usually in the coaching biz gets that thing where you'd like to be able to see what you can do with the best players in the world.
Right.
Everybody that's what I've always heard. And that's the reason for the jump is, I'd like to be able to take these players that are just unbelievable and somehow mold them. So again, we spent a lot of time on him. So, which deserving. Yeah. Back-to-back championships, that's all good.
Yeah. Finally jumping into the NHL world. We really don't have a time. Ovi's getting closer and closer to getting Gretzky's record. So I imagine Gretzky sends out some Canadian player to take a hit on him in like a game or two. We've got a extension coming out of Anaheim with Frank Vetrano for 3 years, 18 mil. So $6 million per year. And then for injury report, we've got Linus Ullmark, who's a goaltender for the Ottawa Senators, is on a week-to-week.
Yeah, a lot of talk about Vetrano's contract. It is the buzz in the NHL right now. Because basically most of the money is deferred. He doesn't start receiving it until, I believe, 2035. And that is, he figures to then be out of California. So his paycheck will go someplace else where he shouldn't have any state tax. Kind of a loophole. Everybody's wondering if this is a way they're going to try to play things. Again, from a strictly money standpoint, I don't quite get it, because your buying power right now and then investing it compared to your buying power in 2035, it's already losing value. with inflation and everything else, that money loses value.
Hmm.
But your levels, that million is going to stay the same. You're just not getting it for 15 years. Even with the tax implications, I'd rather have the money now and just investing that you easily get the 5% that any state is going to tax you. So, but that's the wacky part of that one. I'm curious how that all works out.
Very interesting.
That's for all you business majors out there. If you have any other thoughts about that, please write, or call us or smoke signals and let us know what you think.
Chris will give you his answer in 2 weeks because he's not here next week.
Yes, I am not. I'm not. I got fired.
You're on a boat.
Yes, Krusty will be.
You get to see Notre Dame in Miami, and you're on a boat. You can be fired for a week.
Yes, Krusty won't be here next week. Everything kind of went beautiful for the Krusty, and I get to go down to Miami a couple days early and watch a Notre Dame football team, and then go on a cruise. This will probably be the most hockey that I have not watched in probably the last 20 years. No matter how this works out, I've got to figure I don't see 2 or 3 games. There's my woman in the background going, oh my God.
So if anybody's got any questions or things they want to talk about next week that I can talk about while I'm filling time because it's just me, please let me know.
Well, maybe I'll call into the show.
You can definitely do that.
From underneath the stars as the waves are going. Do we have anything else in the NHL world?
Well, I don't know. You got anything else in the NHL world? Any thoughts, feelings?
I thought there was more stuff that happened. No? Okay.
I mean, like, the Winter Classic was last week. We already talked about that. I feel like that was the main thing in the NHL. I mean, there's rumors and rumblings for the next city. There's rumors.
Oh, no, there's already, that came out.
That came out?
Yes.
Where is it?
It'll be in Florida.
The Battle of Florida?
That they didn't say. They said the Panthers will be hosting, but that's all I got. Hold on.
It should be the Battle of Florida.
Well, that would probably be the best way to do it.
And Matthew Tkachuk will win because Matthew Tkachuk is great.
But I believe that is what I have heard, is they will play somewhere in Florida. And I can't find it exactly. So
they should play in Orlando.
They should. And Mickey Mouse can come out and they could play the Mighty Ducks. Now, again, I don't know.
Who gets to be at the Winter Classic next year?
That's what I've been told. I don't know how that goes either. We could talk about that for a second. The Winter Classic this year was the worst ranked Winter Classic TV wise.
Maybe don't have 2 bottom feeder teams in a city that's hosted it like 4 friggin' times already.
Yes, and you don't have the worst team in the league in it.
We should never be in another Winter Classic until every other team has done it.
It doesn't help that was a blowout. But either way, it's 2 bad teams. It's at a bad time. So I don't know. They're going to try to do this again. I don't know who Florida gets to play against to get enough of a buzz. I don't know. I would assume you just make it simple and it would be Tampa. That way you've got the stadium filled. But we'll see. They're running out of cool stuff to do, and it just seems like it's now becoming more of a pain than anything. And with the expanded college football schedule, there's just no place for them. Because wherever they go, college football seems to want to step in and gobble them up. So
I think Salt Lake or the Utah Hockey Club should be in the Winter Classic, and they should play it in Arizona.
That'd be lovely.
And let the Arizona fans have the opportunity to see Clayton Keller live again.
There you go.
That would be Gary Bettman doing right by NHL fans, but that doesn't happen. So, or Denver, but that's just because it seems cool.
I hear ya.
All right. Should we get into our prospects?
Yeah, let's do it.
We have a prospect report. Just as a reminder, some of the college kids, they didn't play this weekend. Some of them were still on break for a little bit, or some of them were in World Juniors, or some of them were just doing things. We've got one assist from Aiden Thompson out of University of Denver, one assist out of Dominic James from University of Minnesota Duluth. We have 2 assists from Mr. Sam Renzel out of University of Minnesota. Every week, I get more and more impressed and more excited for the prospect that is Sam Renzel. Sam Renzel he may, perhaps, like Krusty and I say, we don't know. He could be the best pick out of that first round.
He could be. There's a lot of people got a ton of love for Sam. He seems to be able to do real well with his outlet passes and also just carrying the puck up ice. Again, Sam's 6'5".
He's huge.
So just like the pickle, it's that incredible reach. We'll see. Yeah, there's some people drooling over him that have been watching a good amount of hockey at the U.
And I haven't watched a ton. I get to see Sam live in about a month, which I'm very excited for. But from when I saw him, I remember seeing him last year when University of Minnesota played University of Michigan. And I went, oh God, Kyle really messed up. And the man's done a complete 180. He still has a lot to go, but the amount that he's done in terms of development within a year just has me very excited for the potential of from this point until this time next year.
Yeah, and again, he's a right-handed defenseman, which always helps. And, as we preface everything, we just don't know because there's just so many levels to go up. You got 3 levels before you get to the NHL. And then at the NHL, it's hard to completely evaluate people in the Hawks right now just because none of these games matter. We're getting a 50% effort from teams that are playing against us. You can't completely understand where the pickle's at because we're never in like a 3-game set in the week that every game is tough and these are big games. So you don't know.
Right.
So, but we can hope. Prospect-wise, it's all we got.
True that. Also, we've got with Oliver Moore at World Juniors, 2 assists and 1 goal this past week at World Juniors. We've got 2 goals from Merrick Vanacker with the Brantford Bulldogs. We have 1 goal, which was the game-winning goal, and 1 assist for Jack Pridham out of Kitchener Rangers. 2 assists for the Lardass.
Love me some Lardass.
1 goal and 2 assists for Martin Misiak out of the Erie Otters, an assist for Put a Spell on You, and then 2 assists for Alex Ferrand out of Sudbury Wolves.
Yeah, so everybody doing well. I did want to mention this, so this will be the good time. As it was explained to me on another podcast that we have to think a certain way about the big lug. There's people that like to tell me how to think.
The audacity.
Yes, and they basically told me, it's going to be okay because of what we have prospect-wise, and people just don't know. And then, for extra money, they would tell you. And I'm here to tell you right now that the Hockey Princess does a much better prospect and Rockford report than any other podcast in the city of Chicago. That I guarantee. It's thorough. She watches more. So For me, I listen to a different podcast, so I don't really need their stuff.
Well, thank you, Krusty.
You're welcome.
I was flattered.
It's very thorough. It's everything we need to know.
Well, since we're sharing the love, I would like to shout out the main Twitter human that has helped me in my thorough research. Highly recommend following Chicago Prospects on Twitter if you have not done so already, to my listeners. There is constant video footage of most highlights for most of the prospects, be it prospects that are still in juniors, KHL, Rockford. That's where I get all my prime Sam Savoy videos of stuff that he does in Rockford. But highly recommend following Chicago Prospects on Twitter, because not only will they have the information, but they have the videos, and I've definitely gotten a lot of my info from them.
That's the name of the game, man. Everybody steals from everybody. Remember that.
True.
Except for me, I'm just a complete original.
You're just so original.
So everybody just steals from me.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm a giver, so it's okay. I'm here to give. And then give some more until it hurts. And then I give even a little bit more. It's just my makeup.
My goodness.
Okay.
All right. Well,
there's speed bump number 3.
Yep. Do you have anything else on our prospects?
No way, man. That's your gig.
That's your gig. Not how to feel, how to not feel.
I don't want to tell anybody how to feel. If somebody thinks that, hey, gosh, watching these guys, it's all going to be fine. You've seen some video on the Lardass and you're positive he's going to put up 50 goals come the NHL, I'm for it. Especially whatever gets you through this year, go ahead and do it as long as it's not a completely illegal substance.
True that.
So, no, I try, and I would like anybody to call me out if I'm telling you how to think. That's just bad.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into some of our more prospects because, they're going to save our team. So hopeful. The future is so hopeful.
That was me jumping. Yeah.
For Joy.
Who's Joy?
Jumping.
Oh, my wife's got Joy. She's in the office.
All right. With Rockford.
Completely threw off Hockey Princess. All of a sudden, she was like, God, I hate it when he does this. Uh-oh. Migraine.
God. Couple of switcheroo things with the Rockford Icehogs. Gavin Hayes is out for 8 to 12 weeks with a shoulder issue. Got hit into the boards, I believe, at some point last week during one of the Iowa games. You see him kind of like hold on to it, have some uncomfortableness as he's skating off, so he is out for a bit. The good thing, though, and I promise it's good because second game in, he had 4 goals, is Joey Anderson is down with the Rockford Icehogs once again. I'm fully okay with this. At least I like Joey. I think he's in a weird situation, and I'm all for players being able to play, regardless of at the level. I don't think keeping him at the Chicago level and consistently scratching him, especially when Sorensen just tends to keep scratching the same 3 guys, I don't think that's really doing a good service to him. So I'm happy to see him down in Rockford so he has the ability to play. And since he was put directly on the first line in Hayes' position, not only is he being able to play, but he's playing first line minutes down in Rockford.
Yeah, and again, good for Joey. And this is one of the things that explains to everybody the exact nature of the NHL beast. It is a hard league to make it in. The Blackhawks were blessed with having a lot of people that all of a sudden just came in. I mean, Taves played 1 year away. Kane came right in. Brandon Saad came basically right in. Shaw came right in. It's a very difficult league to come right in, It's a very difficult league to come in 3 years, and it's a very difficult league to make it in.
And it's a difficult league to stay in.
Right. And you just look at Joey Anderson, he goes down and he has the ability to be one of their top 3 players. But it's hard to make that jump back up. Just they're so friggin' good at the NHL level, and they've all learned the business. And the biggest business in the NHL level is you don't take days off. Every game matters. Every shift matters. And once pros understand that, there's just no freebies out there. And it's friggin' crazy. I mean, Joey's a perfect example. You got Brandon Puri. You can even say Lucas Reichel. Guys that are just in that weird bubble. They can dominate down at the AHL level, but they come up to the NHL and it doesn't happen. I mean, that's where they talk about if you're one of those guys, you better find a niche, whether that's being good at the face-off down, being Samuel Savoie, where you bring energy and a attitude, but you have to find something that differentiates you. So, again, I'm glad for Joey. I believe he gets paid the same amount either way, so it's all good. It's a constant reminder to me. It's really hard to make it up at the NHL.
Oh, absolutely. We also have AA has been medically cleared down in Rockford, but he was scratched for both games this past weekend. But he is cleared to play. He just didn't.
I don't know what they're going to do with him.
Could we say that maybe this wasn't the smartest move on Kyle's part?
Well, yeah, we can. Yeah, you're allowed to.
Favorite thing to do.
Yeah, but again, they've got plenty of money. They've got plenty of cap space. So, does it matter really at the end of the day? No. Does it worry you? Well, with some of this stuff, it's starting to worry me. I've been told that we were building this incredible analytics department. And what I'm getting from this great department is Andreas Athanasiou and TJ Brody, I'm a little worried about it.
That's
or maybe they're not really. Maybe that was just more BS. I don't know. But yes, you can blame Kyle if you'd like.
Great. Love doing that. We also have a new acquisition for the Rockford Icehogs. Matteo Pietronero was acquired from the Toronto Marlies. He is a 6'1" left-handed defenseman. So this happened, I believe, Sunday. People were very concerned. Why are we acquiring another veteran defenseman? Is somebody getting called up? They were starting to think there were rumors floating around maybe Korchinski was getting called up again. Is the kid getting called up? Is somebody going? And then on Monday, yesterday, it was announced that Austin Strand, who is a Rockford defenseman, a veteran defenseman, was traded to the Utica Comets for future considerations. So essentially, just within 24 hours, we added a vet and moved a vet.
Yeah, no, I didn't have any problems with Strand's play. He was, I believe, like a 6'7", right? Down in Rockford. 6th or 7th defenseman.
Thought you were saying that he was 6'7", and I was like,
no.
We don't have tall people on this team.
And that's got to be a little difficult considering the money you just make in the AHL. And I would assume this is Utica, New York, right?
Yeah.
That's a healthy relocation. So kind of stinks for him, but oh well, he still gets to play hockey. So
yeah, absolutely. First game, so they played 2 games, Rockford versus Chicago this weekend. Both were at the Allstate, if I'm not I could be wrong. I one or both were at the All-State. I know Sunday was at the All-State because while I was watching the Blackhawks tank it, um, I could have been seeing Samuel Savoie just up the street. First game, very bad for Kalamazoo. I believe they lost like 5-0 or something crazy. He didn't have the best game, but to be fair, and like I often say for some Blackhawk games, nobody really did. And that's really all that I have to say on that first game. Second game, though, complete 180. Weeks was a net. He played fine. They ended up winning, but it was very much a constant back and forth between Chicago scoring and between Rockford scoring. Joey Anderson with 4 goals that game, which was great. Also, this weekend, we didn't have Colton back because, as we'll talk about my excitement later when we get to the big club, Kyle must be listening to me because he finally did it. So Joey Anderson with 4 goals, but it was very typical. The Rockford veterans did what the Rockford veterans have been doing. Slager looked good, Gutman looked good, Mayhew looked good. All of the guys that typically do look good most games did look good. And then there was an almost Samuel Savoie goal, which, as Krusty pointed out, was an excellent pass from Kevin Korchinski. But when he learns how to refine this shot that he has, oh my God, because he's on the breakaway. He's got it. And this has happened a couple of times to him in the past couple of weeks where he's on the breakaway. He's got it. The goalie goes down at exactly the right time, and he just needs to elevate the puck a little bit more, and then it's in the net.
So he's having trouble getting it up? Is that what you're saying, Hockey Princess?
Why are you like this? He's only saying this because I made this joke yesterday about a different player.
No, I just like jokes. Elevation is kind of hard. Sometimes, it's hard to. I won't. Okay. But again, that'll dictate where he is
Maybe
at.
I'm glad that you won't be here next week.
Whoa, you are not. No, I am just too much fun.
Sure.
But with that thought, I'm going to have to leave you for 1 second. So hold on.
So yeah, that's really what I have about Rockford at this point.
Mom will get you a cookie.
Sorry,
Rutu was outside.
As I talked with Krusty, Kevin looks good at the AHL level. I'm not noticing him a ton, and I don't think that's a bad thing because right now he just seems to be very much like doing what he's supposed to be doing at this point in time. I'm really not seeing any moments where I see 14 on the ice and I'm like, crap. He's doing what he needs to be doing down there, and he looks good. He doesn't look great, but he looks significantly better than when he was forced to be up at the shit show big league last year, and that's what I care about.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you a homework. Not really homework, but I guess, with our break coming in February and everything, maybe that would be a good time to circle back. I have questions about Rockford. You watch a lot more Rockford than I do.
That I do.
And so my question will be to you, the big league club, even the young kids up there, nobody seems to have any consistency. Now, hearing your reports about Rockford, I seem to be getting the same thing. So I'd like you to keep a keen eye on that for maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks. And then we could discuss it more during the 4,000 Nations. What are you, pumping iron?
You want to hear about consistency? He wears the number.
I do want to hear about consistency.
He wears the number 38 in Rockford.
Right. I know he's consistent.
That is the most consistent player on the ice, is Ethan DeMastro. And he will be my next campaign. Oh, call up EDM, you coward, to
Well,
Kyle Davidson.
as I've
Call
said,
that Colton up, and we're just going to make our way through the Rockford kids. Call him up. Call him up, you coward. There
no,
is no
he's
reason.
down there. Yes, there is.
Mm,
He is the leader of that team.
There should not be a reason that I have to sit there and watch TJ Brody do whatever TJ, try to win the Hagen's Bowl for the Blackhawks. And I can't
Well,
watch Ethan DeMastro.
according to Kyle Davidson's analytic department, he was like one of the best available defensemen, or else he wouldn't have gotten him. You're not believing that?
No.
Either way, EDM, I want left down all year. Hang out with Drew. Continue to be the leader anchor that he is down there. But I've given you your work assignment. Don't so.
Right, and I'm saying the most consistent man. Where's the number 38?
Right. I have questions about everybody else. I expect answers in 3 weeks.
Oh, heck yeah. I love homework.
Okay.
All right. Well, guys, we've bullshitted enough time. And unfortunately, we have to talk about the big club. But we get to start positively. Because,
we do.
Christy, you saw a win. And most importantly, you saw Colton Dock on the ice in a Blackhawk jersey.
I did. Everybody loved his game. There was fanfare galore about his game. 5 hits, 5 shots. He looked really good. He looked really good on number 2 power play. Made a nice little catch and turn shot on the power play. So I had no problems with his game whatsoever. He's something that is needed up there. Now, whether he's needed to be there at the expense of scratching Kurashev and Reichel, I mean,
scratching Kurashev for the Winter Classic was the dumbest thing ever, which we didn't talk about last week. But
it's just
so
I don't quite understand. I don't know what we're trying to do here. But we'll leave that for another thing. But no, he played pretty well. Your captain with 2 goals.
Not my captain.
He played okay. Foligno did. They came, and the biggest thing, as far as the game, they showed a little care. The Dick came out and started hitting people in the first minute. They made a decision that the neutral zone was going to be defended physically, not just with just silly stick checks. They were going to go body on body and play a physical game, which the Blackhawks just, for some reason, they're told not to. And that really got the crowd involved.
Yeah, I heard there was a wave.
There was not a wave. There was a wave that was attempted to start. And I will say that again to the idiot down at section 102 or 103. And yes, idiot, you know who you are. When there's 4 minutes to go in a 1-goal game, you do not need to be the center of attention. The center of attention can actually be down on the ice. I don't need anybody jumping up in front of me so I can't see the play. No, they got up a little bit. I did a lot of screaming and yelling and basically told everybody to sit the F down. There's a lot of new fans, so they got a little scared. That's why we don't do the wave. Now, if you want to do the wave when it's a 6-2 blowout, like when there's nobody left, like the Rangers game, go right ahead. Or if you really think it's that neat, why don't you just do it, when there's a break in the action? But yeah, somebody who, even sitting in the 100 section, this man still did not get enough attention and needed more. He needed to make sure he was the center of attention by attempting to start the wave. There, I've gone on a little tirade.
Hey, that's okay.
But getting back to the club, they played physical. It seemed like it mattered. And that was about it. At the end of the day, in my notes that I have, see, I still do have kind of notes, is Montreal outplayed them. Without Bloom playing out of his mind, they probably lose. And that's with a good effort. The effort, you could tell, which hasn't been there a lot this year, the effort was there. But Bloom was getting bombarded from everywhere, and some of his saves were out of this world. Let's just put it that way. So, it explains exactly how bad things are, because it was a good effort, couple, captain goals, and if that guy doesn't play great, they still lose probably 6-4. So, as I've said after most of the wins now, I feel good for the people, the guys on the team. This I'll segue into your captain, because it's got to be very difficult for them to have to deal with this in this amount of losses.
Which is exactly what he said today. He said, yeah, it's got to suck for the fans, but for the players, it's 1,000 times worse.
Did he elaborate on that?
To be honest, I think I threw my phone before I could give it a chance to watch him elaborate and see if he did.
Because I'd like to know how it's 1,000 times worse. He's getting paid. I'm paying to watch it.
Yeah.
As my woman says, who's the idiot in that situation?
We are.
That'd be crusty old guy. But it's what I've said usually when they come out of win. It's got to be rough on them. And you've got some teams that are now, they're done with like letting them off the hook a little bit, and they just want to shellac the shit out of them. So, they got to win. They got a day of people saying, see, they do care, blah, blah, blah. And then they rolled it right into
the Rangers came into town, and all the effort just went directly out the window.
Yeah, you have one of the most dysfunctional teams in the NHL right now, and they looked like world beaters. And you just didn't show up. I don't understand. Louis Domingue was in net. Louis Domingue, I don't believe he's played in the NHL in 2 years. He was in net and got an easy victory. We've been around this. I'd like to apologize for last week's flying off the handle about things. I try not to do that. I try not to go complete meathead. This is what it is right now. But I've heard that now on every news outlet. I'm basically stating this team is what it is. What you saw Sunday night is what it is. That's who they are. That's their identity. They're a team with not much pushback that you can go through a walk through the park and get a W. On rare occasions, they'll decide to give you a decent effort, and if you let them stick around, they might beat you. But the team is a team that loses 5-2 on a nightly basis. That's what they are. There's nothing else you can do about it. Looking at it, I think they've had it. If they could, I think most of them would automatically just walk away right now. I don't blame them completely. I think most of them, when they saw that Luke got fired and the coach to help them along is Sorensen. I think they just said, fuck this. What's the point? They don't care. Obviously, upper management doesn't care. They don't want us to get better either. I think that's what the signal was to the team from management. We don't need you guys to get better. Collect your paycheck. The tank's on now. And as a player, that's got to be awful. I mean, if management cared, you would have gotten an NHL coach and said, listen, this is unacceptable. We're going to try to do something about it. I think when the firing happened, they all just said, the heck with it. And they've been playing the easy way since then. It worked for a couple games, but for the most part, they're leaning the other way. They're ready to go the other way. The defensemen are ready to go the other way. You know, and they're going to try to score 2 or 3 goals and lose 7-3 every day. A terrible effort in that Ranger game from Dickinson and Foligno. After, Seth Jones and Wyatt Kaiser are on the ice for 2 minutes, and they can't get the puck deep.
Okay.
We have the whiteboard.
When this 4th goal happened and I saw Twitter lighting Seth Jones on fire, we had to bring out the whiteboard because, ladies and gentlemen, it was not Seth Jones's fault. It was not Wyatt Kaiser's fault. It is Nick Foligno's fault. Yes, your captain is the one that screwed up. So, friends, the squares are Blackhawks and the X's are the New York Rangers. So we've got Nick Foligno. Sorry, I'm trying to do this backwards. Over here. He back checks a Ranger over here. But the puck is with this guy. Right by him. Look how close he is. And that Ranger is able to pass it to his little friend because, your captain's too busy back checking a child to get it past these 2 defensemen who have already been on the ice for 2 minutes, probably over 2 minutes.
Yes.
I'm not done hating on Foligno. After watching the unnecessary fight during the Winter Classic of trying to bring your team into the fight when you're already down 5-1, and these unnecessary physicality aspects where you're trying to bring your team into the fight, but in reality you're making just really stupid mistakes now and costing the Blackhawks goals, it's a problem, and it's not captain behavior.
Whoa.
I had it with Foligno. Had it.
It was a terrible look for Nick. It was a terrible look for the Dick, too, as both of them were trying to get off the ice as their defensemen who've already been out there for 2 minutes. Granted, nobody should ever get behind them. There was a line change with the Rangers. Somebody else kind of snuck in behind them. But Seth and Kaiser are figuring that they're going to get the puck deep because they have to change.
It's almost
if they don't change and this guy doesn't even beat them back, the Rangers now have the puck in Chicago zone, and Kaiser and Seth Jones are on about 2.5 minutes on the ice. Trust me, the Rangers are going to score. The Hawks are going to take a penalty. But even if it's not beaten, even if they get it into the zone and one of them is behind him like they're supposed to be, you still have Foligno and the Dick getting off the ice, so it's still a 5-on-3. Piss poor. The puck has to get deep at that point in time. I'm going to love it next year when we have an intern and we'll on another square be able to show this exact play and I'll be able to stop it. Just think of me with like a little clicker and being able to like forward and rewind. Oh God, the power I could have. Oh, and I could show. It's going to be great. Can you get to work on that intern?
Yeah, definitely. I hate seeing that from him and then being told essentially what to think by him the following day, that I should hold out hope. For what? We're in January, and I have just consistently seen the lack of effort and the lack of discipline by the veterans on this team. And for those that, then tend to respond that this is a rebuild, do you understand what a rebuild is? There's a difference, or at least in my opinion, there's a difference between having patience with the rebuild, understanding that we're going to be bad for a while, and having patience with lack of effort time and time again from guys that are not new to this league, that have been here for quite a while, that should at least, whether the talent's there or not, should at least give a shit at least half the time.
Yeah. And again, people saying that this is a rebuild. I need to make sure that they're actually watching the whole game. I've got a pretty good understanding that they're not watching and just, hey, they'll start watching again in 3 years. And they'll just comment after every game. But if you're watching this for 60 minutes and you see that kind of effort and you say it's all okay and it's part of the rebuild, I don't get it. How do you say you're okay with that play? How do you say, this is being expected? Nobody's going to give a shit on this team for 3 or 4 years. I never saw that with the Blackhawks before the dynasty years. Mark Bell and Kyle Calder might not have been the best players, but they always gave a fuck. They always attempted. They just weren't talented enough.
There's a difference.
This is lack of talent and lack of effort and lack of giving a fuck. Now, if you're telling me this is how a rebuild looks, I can instantly tell you this will not work. Because this is, let's get into a little psychology, physiology. I was lucky to make it out of high school, so can't really say I went to college or anything. But there's this thing out there, it's called learned behavior. You sit around and watch behavior and it is deemed acceptable. Then you start to have the same behavior. Now you've got Connor Bedard and other young kids who are learning that this is okay. One shift care, one shift not care. This is what it means to be a pro. If you think that's going to handle things in the rebuild, you are crazy. Okay? It will be, yes. But your rebuild is the Buffalo Sabres rebuild. Okay? And that's been a 20-year rebuild. That's what they look like because it's the same effort. One game, Hey, get a superstar. Still can't figure it out. We'll trade him. Hey, there's plenty of rebuilds out there that have been going on for a long, long time. Some of them have been going on since our last dynasty and still haven't figured out. So if you're saying you're okay with that, you're okay with watching this for 20 years, again, I'm saying you're not really watching the game. I'm pretty sure you're just commenting on whatever that stuff is on this thing. There's my little tirade. No, it needs to be addressed at some point in time. It won't be this year. This is a wasted year. I'm going to take a week off. I probably won't watch a ton of hockey. It'll be a good cleansing time for me. I will come back and hopefully not be as crabby. And we'll be able to find silver linings in a lot of things.
Hopefully. Or we'll just be grateful that we're 1 week closer to April.
That's possible too. And there's possibility I just start watching a lot of different other hockey games.
Hey, that's what I do, and it's great.
And get ready for the playoffs. Either way, we're here to deliver a product to Blackhawk fans who are in this with us to ride this shit train.
Yeah.
So Gonna tell you, I'm gonna get some sun, smoke some cigars, watch some football, do a ton of dancing with my woman, whether she wants to or not. And I'll come back a happier, and I will try not to be a Debbie Downer.
Here we go. And on that note,
please tell your friends that this is the best show ever.
Just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis, or twice a week if you watch the Monday previews. If you are going to a game this season, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. And if you do get up while the puck's in play and you're in section 330 and you see a very, very pretty and dazzling blonde yelling at you, guess what? It's me.
Tell them if they're coming to a game, tell them to come by and say hi.
Yes.
I am slowly starting to build my winter family again. So yes, I would like to add more to my winter family.
Yes,
come be part of my winter family.
I'm trying to tell them where we are. Yes, we're in section 330. Come by. We love making friends. All right, that is all. And we will talk. Well, I will talk at you guys next week. You'll see Krusty in a couple of weeks.
Dancing machine.